What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the physique update from Justin Shier. Finally an update. So that is a supersized version of Justin who has gotten into the groove after 12 weeks of slowing down and fixing some of the digestive problems that he was having while he was in the off season. And not just that, fixing some injuries as well. Now as you guys already know that Justin was one of the former clients of Matt Jensen. And Justin actually was a massive success while he was being coached by Matt Jensen. And together, they were able to achieve some great things. Like for instance, getting his pro card and also getting his first pro win. That too on his pro debut and also making his Olympia debut. But not having enough size as well as not having great development from the back that hindered him from placing high at his first ever Miss Olympia back in 2023. Now he made this timely decision to take the whole year off last year. Because the thing is, he would have needed that sooner or later. And this past year has been all focused on building more back thickness and density and putting on more muscle in all the right areas. So to give you guys an idea on how great his physique looks when he is contest ready, just look at those pre-Olympia check-ins. The man has got those great bubbly quads, a very small waistline, a very massive sweep, one of the best arms in the business. He basically has everything to be a top Olympian, especially from the front. And if he brings more size and more density from the back, he's gonna make a huge statement in his comeback show whenever that happens this year. So expect to see him in shows like Chicago Pro or Tampa Pro. So those shows are like 5 months away from now. So a great time for Justin Shier to start this push. And I for one am really looking forward to his comeback. Guys, Mr. Olympia Signature Series is now live on hostel.com. Use the code FAZI10 to get 10% discount. And click the arrow below to check out all the hostel products. So Brandon Curry is really turning some heads with all that size that he's showcasing in all of his recent physique updates leading into this year's Arnold. Now we never talk about Curry's strength in the gym. Well, here it is on full display. Those are 200-pound dumbbells and the man is doing them for rows. And we have to keep in mind, he is 18 days out of his next show. And that kind of strength this close to the show, that is truly impressive. So seeing the size of those delts, arms, it is safe to say that Brandon will have that trademark roundness, especially in his upper half. Again, I'm gonna say, it is all gonna come down to his lower half, his quads. I personally think that his Olympia last year package, that was quite impressive, considering he had such a short prep. And the most impressive thing was that he was able to bring up his legs. And that too while working with a new coach for the very first time since 2016. So a more detailed and a more shredded Brandon Curry that will surely be a contender to place as high as top 4 or who knows even top 3 in 18 days time. And top 4 is something that we can call a very realistic expectation. Now age is a big factor in bodybuilding as it is in every other sport, especially at the highest level. And Brandon, for those of you guys who do not know, is 42 years old. And some of these young up and coming guys like Carlos Thomas Jr., they are going to take him down at this upcoming Arnold. So these are most definitely the last few years of Brandon's career as a Miss Olympia and 2 times Arnold champion. Now he has had one of the greatest career if we talk about how he was placing dead last until 2016 and he went on to win the Olympia just 3 years later in 2019. That is truly impressive. Guys, Gorilla Wear is offering a massive discount of up to 70% right now. Use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have the physique update from the Egyptian tank, Hassan Mostafa. So he's 5 weeks into this prep, and things are already moving very smoothly. So the size and the muscularity that Hassan Mostafa carries, if only he can nail his condition, if he can come in truly shredded, there is absolutely zero reason to doubt that he cannot make it back to the Olympia stage. Because the man is one of the most muscular guy in the open bodybuilding right now. But the fact is, even if he is just a tiny bit off, the judges have several reasons to mark him down and place him so far down, even outside of the top 5, even in an Olympia qualifier with a weak lineup. Because the fact is, he doesn't have the most eye-pleasing physique. He doesn't have the aesthetics. He has a wide waistline. So he has to be spot on in terms of everything else. So the people who advised him earlier in his career to chase more size, that did him absolutely no good whatsoever. Because all of us would take his 2019 Tampa Pro physique over his current physique any day of the week. Because back then, he had a more tapering waistline, a barracks frame, and he was somewhat more aesthetic. But what's done is done now, and the only thing Hassan Mostafa can do right now is to get truly shredded, like he did for the Olympia back in 2023. So Chad Nichols was coaching him at that time, and he did a pretty damn good job with him throughout that year. But last year was one of the most disappointing year for Hassan Mostafa. I mean, the man is packed with muscles on top of muscles, one of the most muscular guy in the men's open bodybuilding, and his Toronto Pro look from 2023, that was a great combination of everything, size, conditioning and dryness. So what do you guys think of Hassan's chances this year? Can he win a show this year and also get back on that Miss Olympia stage, even though the competition this year is gonna be much more fierce? How come people haven't been talking about Jack Eagles? His recent physique update is so mind-blowing if we just take account of the fact that this guy is just 22 years old. Such great proportions at such an early age, they are extremely rare. So the man is currently 7 weeks out. So he's gonna be doing Detroit Pro and FIBO. And the man looks in a phenomenal condition for 7 weeks out. Now here's another guy who started his bodybuilding career as a men's physique athlete. And ever since he transitioned into a bigger division, into classic physique, he has made some crazy improvements. Back in the day, Chris Bumstead made this prediction that you never know when a genetic freak is gonna come out. And that too out of nowhere and just surprise everyone. And there are people who really have a very close eye on bodybuilding. They feel like Jack Eagles, this guy, he looks better than Chris Bumstead did when he was at this stage of his career. Now in just a few more years, Jack will certainly be a big name in classic physique category as he continues to fill up his frame. So the favorite classic pose with those incredible lats and small waistline, that looks incredible. So how high do you guys see Jack placing in classic physique Miss Olympia? Can he win the Olympia maybe down the line? Next up we have the recent physique update of the legend and 7 times Miss Olympia Phil Heath. So how young does Phil Heath looks? At the age of 45. He trains only a few days per week, hardly follows a structured meal plan, but those are just godly genetics that allow him to maintain that kind of size, even 5 years after his retirement. Now he stays relatively lean all year round, which is a more marketable look for all the shows that he attends. So new genetic freaks, they come into bodybuilding from everywhere. But as fans, we have a mutual consensus that there just isn't gonna be anyone like Phil Heath on the scene again, and those people who have competed against a prime Phil Heath, they attest to that. So no videos or pictures of Phil Heath can do justice to how he looked on the stage in person. That 3D look that he brought to the stage, that was so unique. Now how crazy is the fact that he was never as good as either 2011 or 2013 later in his career. In fact, he looked kind of vulnerable in years like 2014 and 2015, and not even a single win of Phil Heath even then. They were questionable out of all the 7 that he won. Now he can do the Masters Olympia if he wanted to, but he has addressed this question so many times now that his days of competing are behind him now. Patrick Moore posts another physique update at 18 days out of this year's Arnold, and once again, it is another back double biceps. So this guy was called the future when he first came onto the scene because he made such an impactful Olympia debut back in 2019 when he was able to make top 10. Because the man had such undeniable shape, and all of us thought that he would get bigger as per the men's open bodybuilding standards, and he would also move up the ranks. But he never really showed that massive change in his physique over the years. He was always somewhere in the middle of being too big for classic physique and too small for the men's open. Isn't that exactly what we saw last year when he brought a great aesthetic look at Europa Pro? Great condition as well, but he was just way too small and he ended up placing 5th in that show. So we really want to see how he does in shows after this year's Arnold, where he's gonna have a more realistic chance of placing higher and potentially winning a show and getting back on that Miss Olympia stage. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.